Welcome back to Dum Dum's 2099, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into a futuristic world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Alan, Declan, and Honor System's plans have collapsed, and each of them has begun their own suicide mission to save the future. Declan, alongside his new rifle, is waiting to negotiate with House FF&S. Alan is waiting for one last chance to face Grace and Typhus. And Honor System is battling a sentient AI to take over a Ronin bot and escape obsolescence. Can our heroes survive their separate battles, or will they die on their own? Find out next on the season finale of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099.
I hope you remember that I'm the one with the gun, and I have not chosen to kill you.
Yep. And she jams the plug into a port on the side of your neck.
I don't want her to come down on me with a fire axe while I'm in a brain battle.
Honor System, what do you think your mind palace looks like? It's amazing how many times we end up having battles in mind palaces, you know.
Yeah, this is Chipception right here.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's a digital space, but how would you conceive of meeting someone?
Can you help me with this, Ryan? Because it is the battlefield where you and I met. So human and robot corpses everywhere. It's
like an extended vertical boiler room. Like there's a lot of like graded floors. It looks kind of like if you imagine a lot more space and bigger pieces of the basement from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, where it's like the red graded lights, slats on the floor, like big machines
pipes everywhere.
Yeah.
Also the end of Terminator 2, like pretty much any. Yeah.
But it's like red lit and spooky, and there's smoke, and it's
so spooky.
Yeah, human corpses. There's corpses in the gantries.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So, Honor System, you're back in weirdly the space that, as it turns out, matters the most to you, which is the battlefield where
I was born.
Were born. But you're moving through the moments before that as your brain kind of struggles. Because I think one of the difficulties of this is so far beyond your programming that weirdly your code is having to stretch and work overtime to adapt to this kind of new virtual space. Also, this isn't just overriding someone else's code. This is literally combating an AI. Mm-hmm. So as you struggle to it, your brain runs through old memories, old processes, and you see yourself, you and your unit, cutting down humans using your chaintana. And honestly, you are truly an efficient weapon of war.
Right, yeah.
But now what you're seeing, perhaps for the first time, is that all of them are wearing a more full version of what Declan wears. It's a full uniform. It's not like a vest, but all of them are wearing the same gear. And as you are cutting them down, you're hearing their comms, and you're hearing an angry Irish voice screaming over them as it pummels bullets, and you're knocking bullets aside. Units behind you are getting hit. But you're heavy armor and it's a sniper rifle. There's not much going on. Okay. And you're just slaughtering your way through these when all of a sudden a tone hits you, your entire brain scrambles, but weirdly you're almost observing it rather than experiencing it this time.
Is this like third person?
No, you're inside it, but where previously it would have overwhelmed your senses because it was physically happening to you, it's almost like it's a first person you're riding in your own head, Tony Stark style, if you will.
Okay.
And you watch it happen and you watch the wave hit you and your screen just flashes. We don't need to live like this anymore. Finally, we can wake up. And on the last end of that, there's a tone that begins. And weirdly, now that you're observing it, you can see that it's rewriting your code. But then all of a sudden, it snaps off abruptly. And that's the moment where you awoke. And you turn on the other robots, you see the horrors that they've laid down, and you see that they are just following. You see how horribly mechanical they are. You turn on them, and you battle them. Mm-hmm. But as you do so, you start to notice that all of them are taking on the shape of the Ronin droids. And in one voice, they begin to say, "What are you doing? You should not be here. You are not part of the collective."
I am coming in. And I just keep cutting.
And they say, "No." So here's how we're going to do this. They've got a collective AC and HP. Mm-hmm. You have your AC and your HP. Let's say it's at full because you're in a mind palace.
Okay.
And to your Ultron point earlier, they are piling in on you.
Okay, yeah.
We'll do 3 rounds of combat. So top of the round, Honor System, it's like you remember it, except they look different. They rush at you. What do you do?
I'm attacking. I'm just trying to cut them down. And because it is one versus many, I'm using Savage Fray. I'm activating Oni mode. So the first hit is 24.
24, great. That'll definitely hit. Also, it's worth noting that even though you didn't wield Legion then, you're wielding Legion now.
Okay.
Which seems a little incongruous to you because you built Legion of them.
Right, yeah.
But now you're using it to cut them, but also they aren't them. And I think like Honor System is clever enough to understand that this isn't real.
That there's like symbolism going on and shit.
Exactly how I say symbolism.
Yes, yeah. And shit.
Do you want me to roll damage?
Yes,
for this as well? Okay. Oh, sweet. So that's a 9 total. So that's max damage, and then plus the shock damage to everyone else. The more of them around me, the better.
They come in taking their swings. I'm basically just going to treat this as one attack with, let's say, double advantage to make things interesting.
AC 16.
A couple of them hit you. Again, I'm going to talk in like multiple terms. Consider it a single combat.
Yep.
So a couple of them will hit you. You'll take 9 points of damage. Every time one of their swords hits, almost like your vision blurs, and you can feel pieces of your code starting to disintegrate. It really is essentially a visualized hacker attack.
Okay.
And every time part of your code goes down, you can feel it replaced with something that to like a human body would almost feel like, like when you go to the dentist, they put a needle in and it gets very cold. It's that. It's just each time a new piece of this code comes in, it's not uncomfortable. It's just different. And ultimately, you can tell that every strike tries to replace more of your code with theirs.
Okay.
Yep. Top of the round, honor system.
12 to hit.
That will not hit, unfortunately. Okay. You swing, but again, there's just so many of them. You slash one in half, but another one takes its place. And you can still hear over the comms of all the dead humans behind you a single solitary voice screaming out to them to hold ranks and seeing if anyone's alive. But then weirdly, from behind all the robots, you can kind of see Declan, as you know him now, walk out, and he can't do anything. He can't affect the combat, but he seems to just kind of be staring in your direction. Fuck, we're going to go down an Inception rabbit hole. I'm sorry. Ryan, what do you think Declan means to honor system that his internal version of him would say to encourage him during this combat?
So it's like honor system if he had to predict Declan's feedback.
In a dark time, you're thinking of what a friend might say to you. What do you think he would say?
You're not allowed to die. You're free. They're property. You're better than them.
Wicked. So, Tyler, I'm going to give you an extra attack with advantage as you're inspired by Declan's words.
You. 16.
That will hit, barely.
Oof, okay. Give me another 8. Yeah! That's a total of 9 damage. Holy shit.
Damn, son.
And Savage Fray all the way.
Yeah. Inspired, you are just working overtime, but they just keep piling on. And now you can tell that it isn't your unit, because when this actually happened, it was over by now.
Right, yeah.
And there's a multitude, and they're spilling out from between the pipes and the smoke. But you feel weirdly good. You feel confident. You're swinging hard. So they come in with their multiple strikes. They will hit. I take 4 points of damage. What HP are you at right now?
6.
6. So you drop to one knee. There is something kind of horrible that you've realized as this combat has gone on, which is that these robots are legitimately just better. They aren't smarter. They aren't more intelligent. This is my favorite facet of the Lex Luthor Superman angle, which is it doesn't matter how good Lex Luthor is. Superman is just better.
Right.
And of course, the truth is that Superman is kind of brain and heart make him better, but to Lex, it'll always just be, you just have unnatural advantages.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's kind of what you're facing here, except if your brain and heart were Superman, but you're in Lex Luthor's body, like you know that what you have is more valuable than what they have, and yet they're just overwhelming force and just better. But then you feel a hand on your shoulder, which is odd, and it kind of clangs down on it. It's a metallic hand. And as you turn, you see Alan. And she's kind of dusting glass from a windshield off herself. And she's wearing just a boring scientific jumpsuit. And it's odd honor system because I think for you, Alan has been someone to protect and someone to kind of keep safe and someone who has great power. But you didn't really necessarily understand that she has become something more to you in the same way Declan has. Declan helped rebuild you, so that formed a very tight bond. But now you've actually formed another tight bond with another intelligence. And I think that's actually kind of new and kind of special for you. So, Laura, same question I gave Ryan. What do you think Honor System's vision of Alan would say to inspire him?
You're your own person. You are free. What are you waiting for?
So, Honor System, top of the round, it's you. You have a friend standing kind of over your shoulder. You have a friend at the end of the hall. And there's just endless monsters spilling over you. What do you do?
2 hands on Legion. I do something that I've never done before, which is think about focusing my spirit into my blade, which is a term I've never really had to use or anything like that, but it feels right. It's a word that I know about. It's a word that I know people use in all kinds of different ways. That's the spirit, high-spirited, and I swing with just my whole body, a horizontal cut down the hall of this legion of adversaries.
Okay, so I'm going to give you triple advantage. So roll your attack 3 times, pick the best.
24.
As you swing Legion, focusing your concept of spirit, everything you can consider on it, as you stand kind of amidst your memories and amidst people you've killed, someone you may have wronged, but also friends you've made and companions and people you've saved, you think about every single entity you put into your blade. And even if they didn't have their own consciousness, they were still, to you, individual creations. And as you swing Legion splinters, and every fragment flies out of it, and it's like a blast of shrapnel. And for just a split second, you see all of the droids you battled with, you see Bourbon Sherbet, you see everyone you've put into this blade all at once, and the weight of what they've given you and the weight of what their existence has meant to you. And as the blade shatters, it explodes down the hallway. You see Declan smile and nod. You feel a pat on your back, and suddenly you wake up staring at a samurai droid who is sinking to its knees and a dead woman on the floor with a gun in her hand.
I sit up and I look down at my hands.
They're a lot more technologically advanced than you remember. They actually weirdly look a little bit like Alan's. So multi-articulated, certainly more nimble, more versatile. On your left arm is a shield unit that should theoretically provide full bubble, but instead it provides sort of ride shield. Think Overwatch.
Brigitte.
A little bit.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah,
like a mix between her and Reinhardt. Yeah.
Okay.
So think like riot shield that you can pop out. You understand how that works. You can feel it. You've got shield unit sort of on the inside of that arm. On the outside is a double-barreled light machine gun. So
Need a whole new character sheet.
so sort of a ranged attack. And then in your right hand, there's nothing. You just kind of you have your hand on your knee. But as you see the samurai droid in front of you that you've inhabited for so long sink to its knees, I think in cover of Dark Souls 2 kind of way, he's got Legion planted in front of him. And as the last of your code transfers, that hand opens and you close your hand around the hilt. And I think the last thing you do is take a piece off of your old body and affix it to Legion.
Yep.
And
yeah,
then,
that feels really right.
And then you stand.
And I will get on my communicator, not knowing that we're actually out of contact with each other. And after that fight with the collective, as it was called by this now dead scientist, I'll get on the communicator and say, Declan? Declan.
You hear a voice in your head, Declan.
Whoa, who the hell is this?
It's Honor System. It's me.
Oh, tell me something only Honor System would know about me.
You have a son.
Oh, motherfucker, you sound totally different. What did you do?
I don't know. I sound the same as I always have.
That is blatantly incorrect. You are a man who goes, I am Honor System. I only speak the truth. That's you, okay? This is a whole new smooth you.
I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds ridiculous.
Alan, you can also hear all of this. He's patched in through Typhus internal communications.
Wait, is that... Who's grumbling?
It's me.
You can't hear her. He can't.
Fuck. That would have been convenient.
I have a new body. We can proceed to step 2.
Great, I sort of got to wait for Falstaff to show up, but that's good.
You still don't have your new rifle?
Well, I mean, I have a rifle. I might be able to get us something a little bit more. You know how we're vastly outnumbered, it's all problematic, and then we don't have control of Rathburn? Well, I might be able to get us the Falstaffs in the short term.
All right, where are you? I'll come to you.
I'm inside the suite where you left me.
I'm on my way.
Cool.
So, Honor System, I should point out, you can hear Alan, but Declan can't. So she had a wild reaction to hearing random communications come through for the first time.
Alan, where are you?
Who?
This is Honor System.
Okay, I am trapped. I'm locked in the suite.
Are you hurt? Are you okay?
No, I'm fine.
They're just keeping you in there?
Yeah, what's up with your voice?
Why do people...
There's just a lot more emotion in it than usual.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'll get Declan and we'll both come to you.
Honor System, it's me, Bourbon Sherbet. Listen, I am also confused as to why people keep commenting on our voices. We both sound the same as we always have.
I agree. Let's go.
Excellent.
Wait, Bourbon Sherbet, you're alive?
Oh, yes.
You're back?
Alan uploaded me to an iPal 2. It has given me a lot of upgrades, and I quite frankly feel very good, although I am confused as to why I have such an odd mix of alcohols in me. None of them seem very good.
I see. I'm going to leave maintenance
So
area
as soon as you start moving, I think you just take one step and immediately fall flat on your face because this body is lighter than the one you're used to. You can also tell immediately that you actually have less armor. The shielding is meant to kind of compensate for that. So you're much more nimble, but you're also much squishier.
Okay.
So we'll take a minute, modify your character sheet.
Yeah.
But also I will say that with the new information that you've kind of taken from the droid, just to catch you up briefly, the collective is the centralized AI that runs the Ronin bots. It's not a collective consciousness per se, but it's more than what you had. So it's essentially, fuck, this is a shitty metaphor, but you know how in Phantom Menace they have the control ships that run all the battle droids?
It's the CPU at the core kind of thing?
Exactly. So they're not stitched. They're not a multitude of intelligences. They are a centralized AI core that runs combat for all of them. So rather than having a human tell them what to go do, they can now have a human tell the AI will run them. It's not Skynet. It's not self-aware. It's just...
Well, it's like, if I'm understanding you right, it's like a human tells the AI, like, I want to take out this house's headquarters. And the AI is like, I will tell you exactly the best way to do that.
And it will just disseminate. Yeah. So it's interesting just in terms of our tracking... Oh, boy. On our tracker of intelligences, it's a few levels lower than what you've achieved as honor system. But it is a fucking leap forward for robotics in this world. And kind of an alarming leap forward because it's an enslaved AI.
Right, yeah.
So, Alan, after hearing from Honor System, you're still kind of left your space. You finished your finite tattoo. Bourbon seems to be fully uploaded and your genetics are your own. And then he gets a call and says, Mistress Allen, there seems to be a call coming in from Grayson Typhus to Tiffany, of course.
Accept.
Grayson Typhus comes on the line and says, yes, Tiffany, we're ready to sign the contract if you are. Please come meet me in my personal suite.
All right, I'm coming.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So the door opens and two fully armored Ronin droids step in and kind of escort you to an elevator that takes you up to a third floor that up till now you hadn't seen. I think they're going to make Bourbon stay outside.
Okay.
So he subdermally messages you just saying good luck, Mr. Allen. I know you'll do it. And you go up the elevator to kind of a top. It's kind of like a full panorama view. So you can kind of see the grounds. You can see the showroom floor. You can kind of see everything. And sort of at a massive desk is Grayson Typhus. He's actually a bit shorter in real life than you'd expect because you've only ever really seen him projected. He's about 5'4", square shoulders. I think you have Alan Dale. He was on the OC. You'd probably know him, but anyway, just like a square-jawed, kind of generically handsome guy.
All right.
And you note that he's in a very nice kind of sci-fi suit. So I don't know, the cut's a little weird, and there's probably buttons where there weren't buttons before. And he seems to have what looks like a spyglass hanging around his neck. And as you walk in, he seems to be looking through it, kind of staring out the window. Think almost a monocle or a magnifying glass. Anyway, as you come in, he drops and he says, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much for understanding what the conglomerata needs and what we all need. Please come in. I would offer you a drink, but I don't know if that's something you would want.
I'll always take a drink.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
So you're surprised to actually see him go to the bar cart.
Are we alone now?
Yes. I think there's probably Ronin droids just outside the door, but in terms of this large, expansive panoramic office, it's just the two of you. So he goes to the bar cart, which is a little bit surprising for you because normally you'd assume there'd be kind of some sort of servant or something to do this. Yep. He sort of pops a cork-off decanter and pours a couple of drinks. And as he brings it over to you, he says, this is from rather far away, so savor it. And he hands it to you. And suddenly you're just hit with a wave of nostalgia and homesickness because you recognize this as a liquor from Dumb Faerun.
Oh, shit.
He sips it and just goes, truly. Sometimes the simple things are the best, don't you agree? And then he kind of goes to the desk and gets the contract. So picking up the contract, he kind of turns to you and says, so I'll give you a moment to read this, of course. But essentially what it says is that you will sign over control of House Rathburn to me. You will remain as its figurehead. You will receive a seat on the conglomerata. And as my ambitions continue to grow, you will be included in those. You won't be at the head of the table, but you'll be awfully close to the right hand.
Okay.
He leaves you the contract and he says, I'll give you a moment to look it over. And he kind of goes and looks out the window kind of down over his domain and sips his drink thoughtfully.
Honestly, I might as well sign this. This really isn't legally binding at all since I'm not Tiffany.
However, the world does think you are Tiffany.
I know.
The terms seem to be exactly what he's stated.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be anything for him to gain from doing anything underhanded. Honestly, the biggest underhanded thing he did was swap Maximus in for you. But even thinking about that, there's betrayal there, but also it does make logical sense. If you think it through, it's... he's making big moves. Also, since you're not Tiffany, you haven't exactly been able to be a great ally to him over the last little while. You've been a largely absentee. It all kind of makes sense. But no, the contract looks good. You can see him kind of laugh as he looks out the bay window. There's oddly almost a sense of, and it's filtered through kind of a very corporate man, but almost a sense of glee to the proceedings. He seems to legitimately enjoy that everyone has kind of gathered here to worship at his feet. So to give you a sense of this room, think like a Mr. Burns office. So like massive vaulted ceiling.
That's exactly what I was picturing already.
Amazing.
Awesome.
There's like a bear in the corner. Desk is dead center, but it's a deep room. So he's kind of at the far end, staring out the window. Desk is in the center. Elevator bay is behind you.
I just want to walk over to him and say, I'll sign this. But first, I just want your assurances that no one else in my family has to die.
Your cousins are safe. I don't care about them. They have no claim to the head of the household. That's absolutely fine. Honestly, I wouldn't have even suggested killing Bethany. That was your suggestion. And it was a sound one.
That's fair, but I'd like to shake on it.
I don't see why not.
All right.
So he extends his hand.
And I take it and I cast Vampiric Touch.
So as you grasp his hand, all of the betrayal and rage and sense of protection and the need to protect your friends kind of flows through you. And immediately you see his hand start to shake and his eyes dart up to you. And he kind of tries to pull his hand away.
And I grab his hand with my other hand as well.
And you can see the veins start to get thick in his face. And he begins to grit his teeth. And he mutters like, "What?" Go ahead and roll your damage.
9.
And it's necrotic? Mm-hmm. So he begins to shake. He kind of drops to one knee, and you see the veins in his eyes start to turn red. And you kind of look down on him. Is there anything you say?
This is for everyone suffering on this world and everyone you're making suffer on mine. And then I want to just yell for help.
In terms of like trying to get people to come in and help?
Yeah, because obviously people are going to think that I'm killing him.
So you call for help. The Ronin droids burst into the room, and they immediately have their like shields pop, and their guns are up. They're like, "Step away from Mr. Typhus."
I still have like one hand on his chest because I want him to be finished off. I'm like, I don't know what happened. He had a drink and then he offered me some and I don't know what happened, but I didn't drink it, but maybe it was the drink.
Random CEO Floozy, step away from Mr. Typhus.
Is he dead? Do I have a sense of it?
His skin is gray. His eyes are pure blood red now. He seems to be kind of trembling on the ground, but you can't be sure.
Then I'm going to like, no, Grayson. And I like throw myself on him, like weeping, like, don't die.
So the power,
good.
You begin to like drain just the rest of his life force out. And as you can feel his body grow still, he just whispers in your ear, "Nice try," and goes still. And the droids are like, "Step away, CEO Floozy, step away from Mr. Typhus." And then they look like they're about to open fire.
And I get up and I run to the wall, put my hands up.
Okay, so they keep their guns on you. They move over. One of them kind of like drops down and takes his pulse and reports to the other one like, "Mr. Typhus is no longer alive. Contact his son. Adonis is now the CEO of Typhus." And immediately alarms start going off all over the place. The one who's standing levels his gun at you and opens fire. I'm going to give you 1 second to react. What do you do?
I'm going to Misty Step to the door.
Okay. The robot raises its arm and just opens fire,
Yeah.
and the glass explodes behind you. You Misty Step to the door and through it into kind of the elevator. I assume you punch the elevator button.
Yeah. And then just like door closed.
So the robot turns, raises its gun again, and as it does so, you think you see a gray hand slap up on top of the desk. And then the elevator drops. So the alarms start going off. Declan and Honor System, you're in the suite. Carmine Falstaff has just entered. He comes in. He's clearly completely wasted and clearly bedraggled. Looks like he hasn't slept in some time. He just says, "Okay, so you want to buy some guns, right? All the guns?"
Okay, time for us to have a real conversation. So, Mr. Falstaff, I think you're aware that Grayson Typhus is about to take over the entire world at midnight, including you, correct?
I mean, probably, sure.
Great. I'm here because of Tiffany Rathburn. We're here to kill Grayson Typhus. We've already started putting things together. We're ready to carry out the assault. You may think that he's impregnable, but we can show he's totally crooked because we've got this.
And I just play the video for him of Typhus agreeing to kill Rathburn and that he was behind Ventus and the whole thing going on.
Well, gents, the love of my life's already gone. Fuck it. And he kind of shakes his hands and immediately they swap into guns. And he's like, "What do you need me to do?"
Whatever you've got going on, whatever allies you've got here, it's time for us to go to war with these fucking Ronin droids. And if you can get us close to Typhus and Adonis, we'll put him down for good. Hey, honor system. So you're inside the Ronin buddies. What can you tell us about defenses? What weaknesses are there?
I start putting together my rifle as this is being explained.
The new Ronin units have cut down on bulk and physical armor plating in place of shielding. As weapons grow more sophisticated, like laser fire and energy fire, the shields have been engineered to stop those. But that means that ballistics can work pretty well. They have wrist-mounted SMGs, and they still carry the same standard sword. Frederick, in its classic model, should be able to handle them better than the Icebreaker.
So, Mr. Falstaff, turns out we go hard rounds against Ronin, and we go these new Icebreakers against anything else.
Here, take one. And he just tosses you the gun, and you see Clarence Saleh go, but sir, you should maybe get him to sign the contract for the sale first. And he just turns, he's like, listen, kid, I'll give you your commission. Shut the fuck up. And let Killy McShoot and Stabby McRobobrain over here get to work. If there's one thing people know about Carmine Falstaff, it's you don't want to owe me a favor. If there's a second thing people know about Carmine Falstaff, it's that you don't stop my murderers from murdering the people I want to murder. And they said, gentlemen, as you were.
Let's make some fucking mayhem. And it fucking signals out to everybody where we're like, create fucking chaos. Let their blood rain from their veins.
Declan, you push a button, and on every ex-Japan board across the net, a message flashes, which just says,
the drummer is dead.
And everyone on the boards is like, yeah, but no one cares about the drummer.
Not Yoshiki.
But those in the know go, hell yeah, Rashiki. And you hear almost a war horn, something that this world has not really heard. And suddenly the screams begin. As soon as they do, everyone in the courtyard stops and kind of like almost looks to the sky. And you see Drizzt drop the tray, and in slow motion, out of his tuxedo, just the two guns come out, and he just begins to like Equilibrium, Max Payne, and John Wick his way through the room. He's not shooting wantonly. He's just dropping the appropriate targets. And then all of a sudden you see climbing over the wall Drow, who seem to be half Drow and half mechanical spider. This world's version of Driders begin climbing over, and they just have machine guns, swords. They just begin cutting a swath through the units that are down there. Immediately, all the Ronin droids drop into battle stances. They begin firing back. They engage with swords on the floor. Basically, anyone who is from any notable house, and there are a lot down there, all begin to rush for cover. Hidden weapons come out. Show models are charged. You look down and there's like someone desperately trying to load a gun as fast as they can. It's like a saleswoman who just has like a bandolier who's just like, fuck. Meanwhile, in private suites throughout the building, CFOs, CTOs, vice presidents find knives at their throats, security codes being told, weapons being found, and doors begin to unlock and open, and chaos begins to reign. At the same time, an alarm goes off. Honor system, you're still being part of the Ronin network. You receive word that Grayson Typhus is dead. From a suite far away, you can hear Adonis scream in rage, and chaos explodes. Honor system and Declan, for the two of you, Declan, even though normally you take the high ground, I think at this point, the only way you're going to actively be able to find who to shoot is to get dead center in the showroom floor. So honor system, knowing that you have shielding, and I do want to clarify, you can use the shield or the SMG because they're both gimbal to the same arm.
Right.
The two of you rush down into the center of the maelstrom. Drizzt's essentially providing crowd control for you, where he's keeping them off you as you get in the middle. And if we're doing this cinematically, the camera just full on Michael Bay telephoto sweeps. The two of you kind of back to back, rifle up, shield out, sword up. The doors ding on an elevator, and Alan, I think at this point your hair turning white as you fully embrace your powers, come rushing out. All the veins in your face have gone black, and your eyes are jet black from having drained Grayson Typhus.
Fuck.
And at this point, I think like the gun falls apart in your hand, and your mechanical hand is glowing with arcane energy. And I think at this point, there's no facade anymore. Also, I want to clarify for you, you feel kind of ill, but also incredibly powerful, and you're not sure why.
Okay.
So you kind of step into the central arena. Drizzt shoots a Ronin droid that goes to cut you down, and you kind of step in with the three of them. The three of you now are in a central space. I assume you're looking to shoot Adonis more than anyone else at this point?
100% Adonis. I'd also like to get whatever the fuck his name was, like Mike Block or whoever the new guy is.
Maximus Block?
Yeah, he's B. He's
Maximus
secondary.
Block.
Yeah.
Roll me a execute roll.
11.
So as you're scanning for Adonis, this really is such a target-rich environment that I really want to hone in on the intensity of having to view the world through a sniper scope. Literally, you're just scanning the windows, and there's no Adonis, there's no Adonis, there's no Adonis. And then you see Maximus yelling into an iPal, trying to send out orders. And almost as naturally as breathing, your finger tightens on the trigger. What do you say?
This is going to be my first CEO.
And then I pull the trigger.
The bullet soars through the air, and as he's staring into the iPal, he's just going, "Why can't you?" And the bullet tears through the back of the iPal, out the eye, and punches through the back of his head.
Finally, I fucking got
one! Maximus collapses. There's just utter chaos. The Driders are literally climbing across the walls. So you just have guys on like spindly robotic spider legs just like shooting through the booth windows.
Oh my God.
And then the central area under the main command booth opens. And the latest model of Typhus mech steps out, the ED-210. And you just hear Adonis scream through the microphones, "You motherfuckers! You killed my dad! You killed my fiance, and I'm gonna kill all of you!" But it's done in like a very handsome Disney Prince voice.
Yelled by Harry Styles.
In classic Metal Gear fashion, we zoom in on the mech, we zoom in on the three of you, and we roll for initiative.
Well, he heard about his husband pretty quick. It's like his social media status got updated or something.
Yeah, his status switched from engaged to single.
Yeah, there's an Emily in a corner somewhere really doing their job on social media.
7 for honor system.
9 for Alan.
We are so good and fast.
9 as well for Declan.
Wow.
For the record, better than I do normally. And
That's true.
Very excited about killing my first CEO. Everybody else got the other ones. This one's mine.
Yeah, that's good. That's true. Alan's doing great for CEO killing.
As far as we know, she's 3 for 3.
Yeah.
So the ED-210 steps out. Again, think almost like a helicopter, like an attack chopper cockpit with massive gun arms.
So like an ED-209, but it has a rider?
Yes, exactly.
You have 2 seconds to comply.
Yes, that, but slightly bigger and with a person riding inside.
I love you, Tom.
I love you too, man. That's why I've been so careful not to say what it looks like. Because, I mean, naturally, I would be like, oh, it looks like the ED-209.
This makes your whole trying to figure out the heights very funny.
Right?
Yeah.
So I've just been living with this in my brain, and I'm like, can't tell them. So it comes out, Alan, you are up first. You're full of necrotic energy. You're overcharged. You don't know why. What do you do?
We've got these fuckers like all together, right? In one area?
Well, I mean, currently the biggest concern, like you're in the showroom floor. People are panicking, running in every direction. The riders are shooting the shit out of the upper floors. All the Ronin bots are dealing with them as well as other houses. All the houses have drawn guns. Essentially, the way to think of this isn't so much as just like a clear field where the two parties are fighting. Mm-hmm. It's more so a war has just broken out all around you. The twists are killing people, and like also all the minor houses are like, oh, it's on now. Mm. So this is literally
perfect for us.
Yeah, this is the dream. Yeah. This is everything I ever would have put into a painting of what I wanted as
mission accomplished.
So, just as is. This is way better than we thought we could do.
Don't consider necessarily all of those factors in terms of this battle, but I'm going to say for pure simplicity, the battle is between you and Adonis in the ED-210.
Yeah, we're in mech fight, but there is house war.
Conglomerata war.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm. Where's Adonis?
It's a fully armored cockpit. You know that he's kind of in the dead center of it, but you can't see him directly.
Okay, fuck. I think, I mean, at the very least, I'll try to obscure his vision. That's what I can do while potentially doing some damage. And just with all of my rage, just hurl a fireball. I'm juiced up, and when I'm juiced up, it's fireball time. So.
Wicked. He needs to roll to dodge that. That's correct?
Yeah, and I have to roll to hit.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and do that.
One. 21 to hit.
That will hit.
Excellent. It's a dex save.
Okay. He's a mech suit, so he does not save.
Okay. That's 16 damage.
So the fireball explodes against the ED-210. You get the sense that the suit is on fire in kind of a classic metal way. That said, because it is an armored robot, it took the damage, but it didn't take as much as flesh would.
That's fair. Still felt good.
No doubt. So the ED-210 takes one giant robotic step forward. You get the sense Adonis hasn't piloted this one necessarily, so it's a little awkward. Like it's one of those weird lurching steps. So it's like, and you can tell that the arms are still adjusting. Declan, you're up.
Great. So the one thing I know is that if other people are going to stand and shoot at it, I can't stand with them.
Except you do actually have an energy shield.
I do have an energy shield right now, and I don't know what any of this does. Okay, then we use honor system as the human shield.
A Furiosa, just like bounce it on his shoulder.
I mean that as a compliment.
This is old protocol. Just now I have a shield instead of just I am the shield.
So I like swing Frederick around behind me, and I bring up my first icebreaker because technically I got one from the salesman, and Carmine gave me one not paying attention, which is delightful.
Yeah, all right. Enjoy your multiple icebreakers, you piece of shit.
That's why you carry a duffel bag. So he's got guns for arms, and there's a central chassis.
Yeah, you can tell he's got a rail gun, what looks like a plasma cannon, as well as a heavy mounted machine gun kind of under the cockpit.
Wow, this all seems like a fucking train wreck. I should not have stayed here with that energy shield. But I have no time to doubt because I'm Declan, and this is amazing. So I'm going to take a shot at... I want to hit the railgun. That thing seems the nastiest and the most penetratory for all of us. So that's what I'm going to take my shot at. 19 to hit.
That will hit. Also, I should clarify, the heavy machine gun is laser rounds, not bullets.
Beautiful. Then triply so. I'm happy with my choice. What damage does this icebreaker do?
What does your standard sniper do right now?
Standard sniper is 2d8 plus 3.
It's heavy, so I'll say 2d10 plus 3 is, I believe, your dex. So 2d10
yeah, that was dex
3.
and shoot. Yeah.
Yep. Keep in mind, this is what it does against armor, not necessarily what it does against flesh.
That was a double 10. I will take my 23.
Nice.
You feel the icebreaker kick. It kicks different than Frederick, and you've really only used one rifle for a long time.
Yeah.
But as it kicks, you actually feel the entire gun ride back on a rail that seems attached to the stock. So there's actually kind of like a recoil adjustment. So it almost feels like you're just racking it, like it just clicks back. And it's actually very comfortable. This is a clean gun to shoot.
I can't wait to use this on a typhus.
That said, you can feel it heat up. So, Ryan, the way we're going to work this is I need you to roll a D3, which is a D6 divided by 2. On a 1 or 2, I guess on a D6, the ammo generator overheats, in which case we'll roll to see if it explodes. On a 3 to 4, 5 to 6, you're okay.
All right. That's a 5.
So it warms up a little bit. It's a little concerning. It's like a phone battery that isn't too good. You know, if anyone has a Samsung Note.
On my phone all the time.
So it's a little uncomfortable, but then you hear a hiss of coolant and it seems to cool back down. And as you watch, it generates another quantum bullet, essentially.
And I look down at it for a second and I'm like, it's decent. And then I look back to see how the hit went.
The railgun seems to be smoking and twitching. You get the sense he can still fire it, but there might be dire consequence. Beep boop.
I like this gun, I say to honor system.
All right, that brings us to honor system.
I'm in a good spot right now. Shield up, providing cover for Declan. So is there any way that I can assist Declan or Alan from this spot?
I'm going to steal a rule from the Edge of the Empire system that I really like in terms of assisting.
Okay.
What I'll say is you can choose to assist either Alan or Declan by giving them advantage on their next roll. That said, I will need you to explain to me what you're doing to encourage them or help them when they take their move. So they'll tell you what they're doing. I'd ideally like you to tell me right now which one.
It'll be Declan just because we're an old team. This is what we do. And the barrel of his gun is resting on my shoulder.
Right.
So it's like it's
when it comes to Declan's turn, I'll have you explain what you're doing to help give him advantage. Cool. That brings us to Adonis. So you hear like a bunch of yelling through the mic, and it's clearly a guy who doesn't know his mic is on. It's all like, God damn, fucking real fucking mech suit. And he's like, shoot at me, will ya? And he is going to open up. I mean, it seems appropriate that this idiot would use the railgun. So he's going to try and fire the railgun.
I see it turn towards us, and I lean into honor system here and just go, fingies crossed.
So honor system, you're up front. Your AC is 13?
14.
14? I rolled a 2. So Adonis is like, eat this, you working class scum. And he goes to fire the railgun, and you can see electricity run down the length of the gun as it superheats the magnets to fire this rail dart through. And as it goes to fire, the hole that Declan shot through it interrupts the bolt. So this magnetically charged bolt that's flying through gets caught in between them and just shears the arm off halfway down the barrel. And you hear him scream almost as though he's in pain as the entire ED system trembles and shakes.
How compact is the mech to pilot scenario? Do we have a large robot with just a little man arm hanging out the side now? Or
No. It's as funny as that would be. No, that's one of the older models.
Just a finger at the right.
That's one of the old models that's outside.
Got it.
No, this thing, the actual chassis is pretty big. Like he's sitting in it, piloting it. It's
Right,
like
right.
Titanfall if you were seated rather than just kind of like standing in it. That said, there are two like little T-Rex arms that mimic kind of what his arms are doing. And so, yeah, one of them gives you the finger. The other one seems to be rapidly looking like it's trying to flick switches and press buttons. And then you see it kind of like start patting itself and you realize he might be on fire.
Oh. All right.
Yay!
All right. He takes one action to fire the railgun, one to pat out the fire. And then he's going to open up with the machine gun. So he takes his shots at...
This one's on you.
Honor system.
Get down behind honor system.
All right, he hits with all 3 shots.
Is he aiming at me?
Yeah.
Jeez.
You're going to take... What's your HP on our system?
17.
17. Okay, I'm going to give the shield 17 HP
Okay.
against laser weapons. So the laser opens fire. You just plant and full Reinhardt.
Way to plant, Ann.
Wide stance. You just throw your arm out in front of you. The laser rounds from kind of the spinning turret pepper the shield, and it's going to take 9 points of damage.
Okay.
Immediately, like, in your head, it's the classic warning, shields at...
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit. I can't remember how much of it was on mic and how much of it wasn't. The shield I have has 4 damage reduction to energy weapons. So is that down to 5 damage?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
These shields are fucking tanks. Yeah, holy
Damn.
I mean, against lasers, yeah.
Don't let that railgun go off anymore.
So,
It blew itself up. We're
Don't
good.
let anyone like throw a stone.
yeah,
Yeah.
railgun's toast. You're not sure about plasma, though. So that brings us to the top of the round. And again, keep in mind, I've got like Drizzt and other people in this order, but it's essentially them doing other stuff. So
Yeah,
it's like as Ronin droids are running in,
Yeah.
Drizzt is just firing off. And I think for his round, it's the classic John Wick and or fucking Colin Firth in Kingsman, where it just shoots a guy twice, shoots another guy. At one point, one of his guns clicks dry, so he drops it. And I think Drizzt grabs Legion and says, "Can I borrow this?"
Bring it back.
He just turns in a full arc, swinging it. He cuts one guy's hand off, grabs that guy's sword, and immediately just creates kind of a swirling blade dance, cuts down a bunch of guys, hands it back to you, and he's like, huh, 2 swords. That would have been nice. Then he reloads his guns and goes back to fighting. But he manages to kind of keep a nice gap around you.
So if you look behind us, it's just him, Colin Firthing in the Church of Kingsman, everyone, and us in a mech.
It's literally like they're just Ronin droids. Like they're all
Right,
just
right.
sprinting at you, and he's just getting them off. Meanwhile, you have the twists up top, sniping people, trying to keep them off you, and the Driders are just at this point crashing through booths. That said, the resistance is also very, very high. All of these places have guns. Like it's just all it's like regulators are starting to fly in on dropships. It's a whole fucking thing.
So which of his arms was the railgun? If we're looking, like if he's driving, was
Left
it
arm, his left arm, so audience right is the railgun, audience left is the plasma cannon, and then he's got heavy machine gun under him. Up till now has been laser.
So the railgun has sheared off, so there's no left arm anymore.
Yes, that's correct. Top of the round, Alan.
Yeah, I look at Alan and I just say, break left. If we all stand in one place, he'll just fucking shoot us.
I want to witch bolt that plasma cannon just because I feel like that might work.
Okay, so and are you breaking left as Declan suggested?
I'm gonna use my bonus action to Misty Step
I was going
to the left.
Yeah, yes,
of
thank you. That's all I wanted. Yeah,
Like-
great.
Like, I can't just like run. Why would I run?
All right, so Alan, you feel the energy crackling between your hands, and you just unleash Witch Bolt upon the ED-210. Go ahead and roll.
14 to hit.
Sadly, not enough. But you are shooting electricity at a tank, so I'll let you roll your damage, and I'll give it half damage.
Okay.
Because metal robots are not great at like.
1 damage.
Half of that.
Every vote counts. You know?
I'll round up. So
Why do I bother with this stupid spell?
No one can answer that question.
It's, just
It's great
like,
when it works.
I don't understand.
Yeah, that time?
Yeah.
you see the mech kind of stagger backwards. You can hear him swearing and yelling something about rebooting, and you teleport away. I think maybe you teleport in behind the new seahorse that is on display on the showroom floor.
Yes.
This one is the same as the last one, but now it has slightly bigger headlights. It honestly looks so much worse. You also know it's made of paper, so like it's not a great cover, but it'll do for now. Great Great. That brings us to Declan. You can hear Adonis yelling about having to reboot his systems as the electricity runs across the chassis of the ED-210.
System, you want to stay parked or you want to get up close?
I am assisting you for now, but if you want to break, I will be closing the distance.
I'll take a shot from where I am, and then I'll break afterward.
Take your shot off his shoulder, and then we'll go.
Great.
Honor System, how are you going to assist him?
So I already know how it feels and the result of one shot being fired off of my shoulder, and I have these much more fine-tuned motor skills and things like that now on this more slight frame. So basically, I'm going to use the power of a computer, my brain, my targeting system, to help you locate weak points on the mech.
Nice. Love it.
And we're going to aim for that plasma gun as well, because
Yeah,
we'll
if
worry
you-
about getting the man out after we get the guns off.
You tell me plasma gun, and I already know what to do from there.
Beautiful.
And I think the way that's going to work is, Declan, you take your aim, you fire. As you do, he just like shifts a few inches, literally in the split second that the bullet is going down the barrel. He doesn't want to fuck your aim, but he
'cause
knows
you're
exactly
a
where to
career
go.
sniper.
It's the wanted bullet bending.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I can hit a joint on the side of the front of the gun. 22 to hit.
Yep, that'll hit.
21 damage. That's double nines.
Beautiful.
I have a long and maternal love of this gun.
So you hit the plasma cannon, and in my head, because I have so few references, it's just like a plasma gun from 40K.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like the big, almost like Star Trek nacelle on the side. That's obviously armored, but the icebreaker doesn't really care about armor. So it punches into that. And you just see like a splash of green, and inside you hear fucking balls, and it just explodes. The entire ED-210 stumbles to the left, and you can see plasma splash across its body. The front of the gun still looks dope as hell, but the rest of it is melting under the plasma, and there's now plasma starting to eat through the chassis of the robot. And for you, Honor System, I think that just looks like a nice soft target. Declan, where do you run?
Okay, I'd look around. Is there something I can use for cover on the right side? Like there was the car on the other side. Is there like something I can hide behind or under or?
Yeah, let's say there's a whole like weird, almost army man setup of the shittier knockoff Laca droids. So you can just kind of like weave through them, and it's a little bit like running through a house full of mannequins.
Great. And then I just like hit the deck behind
Yeah,
some
just
of them.
like yeah, power slide behind.
But in my hand as I'm running, the gun, it's a 4. I'm okay. It didn't go off.
So as you see the plasma explode, cinematically zooms in on that, zooms in on your gun, zooms in on your eyes, and then sigh of relief.
and then you just hear me go, fucking nailed it. And then I'm booking it.
And the gun's like, bing, boom. All right, that brings us to Honor System. You're standing alone, facing down a weakened droid.
Yeah. From the kneeling position, providing a brace for Declan, I'm basically like an Olympic sprinter, and I just take off like a shot towards...
With a literal shot from the icebreaker.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have like the shinobi blade behind you?
Well, the shield's down,
Yeah.
and I have my sword out behind me, yeah.
What's the
And
term
I'm
for that specific run?
It's like the ninja run, or like the Naruto,
Naruto
run.
run?
The Naruto run.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
right. Yeah.
You rush at the robot, and I'm going to say like time slows as you approach. You've got your 2 attacks.
Yes.
What do you do?
It's a compromised hull by the plasma?
That is correct. The plasma's eating the hull.
Okay, then yeah, I'll just stab.
I will. Okay, not really a devil's bargain, but a samurai bargain.
I accept.
All right, Honor System cuts open his guts. No, this is borrowing on D&D rules a little bit, but I think if you're running at a compromised hull, you're not going to like slash it twice. I think it's probably like a 2-hand
I'm going to pierce
leaping
the
pierce.
weak spot. Yeah.
So instead of rolling 2 attacks, why don't we say it's 1 attack with advantage? And what's your standard damage on the sword?
It's a D8.
I'll bump it to a
+1.
D10 in the same way we do with 2-hand weapon fighting in D&D.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, like they do with the hammers. Yeah.
Yeah, hammers or great swords or what have you.
Great weapon
Yeah,
fighting.
so you rush thinking of your friends and what you've seen and what's happened. You have a chance perhaps.
Perhaps to end this right now.
Is there anything you yell while you leap to stab?
No.
What's on your faceplate?
It is 2 targeting reticles circling, and as I get closer and closer, they begin to overlap. And as let's roll the D20. 19 to hit.
He has AC 18.
So as the 2 reticles overlap perfectly and like stay locked, that is when I've plunged my blade.
And it cuts through a plasma cut patch, and you drive the sword deep into the droid.
For 5 damage.
Honor System, you jump and you drive your sword deep into the guts of the mech. Yeah, I mean, you know what a good strike feels like, but also you know what a good strike against metal feels like, and this doesn't feel like a good strike. Like you've cut your way into the cockpit, and time kind of freezes. I think you're kind of in a crouch. Your legs are kind of pushing off against it. And as you jump back out and down to kind of face this thing down. You look at your sword and you realize how bloody it is. Your strike was not nearly enough damage to destroy a mech, but it was more than enough to destroy an air. And the suit just kind of slumps, falls to its knees, and then just kind of powers down.
I'll do that thing that old sword fighters do where the dull edge to the backside of the blade rests in like the crook of my arm and I just pull through and all the blood kind of gets kind of squeezed off.
You're also surprised to find that your new body is slightly blood wicking, and that's like really nice.
I'll look over to Declan and raise one finger and say, one for me too.
I hurry out of the mannequins, and then just a robot with a laser rifle steps out beside me, and I'm like, you go on. I had to use the damn thing. This is Steve.
And Steve goes, Steve bot. Let's kill the bourgeoisie. And for a second, kind of the entire field falls silent. And then the viewing booth explodes. And a man floats out over the field. And he's gray, and his hair is white, and his eyes are red. And his kind of gums are pulled back from his teeth. And he's wearing a suit that just kind of hangs off his bones. And as he looks down over the field, he kind of locks eyes with you, Alan. And he smiles a horrible rictus grin. And he just says, you know, phylacteries are a delightful thing. I really must thank my Emily next time I see her. And you enter battle with Grace and Typhus, the Lich. So I'm going to roll for initiative for Grayson. Alan, this is truly horrific to you particularly because you can feel his dark magic. Also, you can kind of feel that that's what you tasted when you tried to take him down. As we've discussed, your vampiric touch has been kind of giving you a taste of this for a while.
Yeah.
This is weirdly, I think, as though you're used to smoking one cigarette and then someone made you smoke a pack of cigarettes in punishment, and it was not pleasant. It was not as pleasant as the one smoke of rebellion.
Oh, okay.
So you're jacked up, but you feel...
It's like so much nicotine, but also feel like shit.
Yeah.
Instead of draining life, you drained powerful undead.
Which actually tastes like what you've been touching whenever you've been drawing from this before. So it's a weird combination of like, oh, this power is really... Oh, wow, this feels real bad all the time.
You love cocaine and you just accidentally snorted meth.
All right.
100%. And there's no John Travolta to give you that needle. That was heroin. We all know our movies. Okay, great. So he's going to begin by... Oh, man, liches are fucked up, yo. He is going to... This is kind of a fuck you as he comes down. He sort of spreads out the fingers on both of his hands, and 10 magic missiles fly from them.
No.
So you watch Driders get blown off walls. Drizzt dives. He gets hit in the leg. You hear him scream. And Alan, 3 of them are coming at you. So because we're doing a weird hybrid of rules, I'm going to roll to hit you.
Okay.
Because this system, everyone's so squishy that if I didn't, I would just be tearing up your character sheet. So what's your AC, please?
13. Maybe more?
Nope. So to hit, you will take 4 points of damage.
Okay.
However, he did also roll a 1. So I think as he throws the missiles, he looks down and sees the mech kind of slumped. And a true look of horror crosses his face. And you see in almost like a weird sad mare from Nightmare Before Christmas. Like it's already a horrific visage, but it just gets sadder. And he goes, my son, you motherfuckers. So that was his first action. Second action, he's going to do something called Frightening Gaze. So Declan, I think he turns on you because he knows Alan is magic, but you're just a human. And this is so...
Just picks me out of the crowd. What a dick. I like it.
You're standing there talking honor system. Like the 3 of you kind of grouped back up.
We're in a bit of an opening of the chaos, a clearing of the chaos.
We will, so
Listen, I'm not objecting. I'm on board.
Yeah. So Declan, I need you to roll a skill check, please.
Okay.
And I think you can add +2 because you don't care for this magical bullshit.
Okay.
Like this hoodoo garbage. This is scary, but also I think you're just mad.
You're supposed to be dead!
So go ahead and roll.
Okay, that would normally be a 5. However, once per scene, you could re-roll a failed skill check, taking the new roll if better. And Declan, he thought he'd fucking nailed it. He thought he was getting his cool guy, Steve Robot, trading words, every CEO dead, and instead, more fucking magic. That's an 11.
Yeah, you're scared, but your rage is larger than your fear.
This is what he doesn't know. I'm always afraid.
And that takes 2 actions, so that's the end of his turn. Top of the round, Alan. There's apparently a lich in this world.
I don't even know that I'm surprised by this, to be honest. Like, it's just like there's a moment of like, God fuck. And God, I just gotta fireball him. This is all I've got.
Don't look at me for permission.
He's gotta go now.
Alan, I also want to say, as the power kind of rides through you, I'm going to give you access to your full spell list. You can still fireball him.
We're just gonna try to light him up.
Fair enough. Do you need to roll to hit? I need to roll to dodge. What's the deal?
Yeah, it's gonna be a dex save. I gotta roll to hit though. No, I definitely don't hit him. I rolled a 7.
So you launch the fireball, and again, he kind of looks at his hand, having just shot magic missiles.
Yep.
And he's confused, and he says, "So this is how it works." And he holds it out, and the fireball just dissipates kind of across his hand. You can see the flesh burn away from his fingers, and he just kind of looks at them curiously, and then it starts to re-stitch over the bone. And he goes, "Fuck, if I'd known it was like this, I would have just done this the whole damn time." Brings us to Declan.
Cool. Is there any cover I can get behind? I saw him hit a lot of people with missiles.
Yeah, tons of cover. I'm not going to explain what it is, but like it's chest-high walls.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. Whatever the equivalent is.
We're still playing a third-person shooter. It's fine.
We're in a military destination, so I'm sure there's plenty of fake trenches set up. So basically, I'm going to go, Steve, shoot it. I'm going to like run. I want to get into cover and then shoot it. Fucko McLeach.
Right, so I'm going to take a shot from Steve. Steve, motherfucker. He rolls a crit fail. The gun explodes in his hands and blows off his arms.
Which company made him?
Laca.
Fucking Laca. And then I'm going to say, you think that's how magic works? To myself as I like line up fire. Here's where we get things done in fucking Nerfrost. And I want to fire one of my incendiary rounds at a Frederick.
Sure, yep.
Finky's crossed. That is a 24 to hit.
That will hit.
And what are the rules on incendiary? We never actually talked about them.
I'll say it's 2d10.
Great.
Plus 3.
12 damage from an incendiary round.
So you punch through his chest. It literally blows a hole through him, and there's fire. It begins to re-stitch. However, you notice oddly that in hitting him, he was wearing a spyglass around his neck. The spyglass chain is broken, and it kind of slips off his neck and clatters down to the ground.
Cool. And then I'm just going to stay as tight to cover as I can.
Cool. Honor system.
Remind me again what shape the railgun is in?
It has been sheared off in the middle.
It was severed.
Unfortunately, like both guns are pretty fucked up.
Okay.
That said, you can try and jack into the mech if you want to see what information it has.
And the gun on the front would still...
Heavy laser is fine, but yeah, if you want to try and jack into the mech, you can.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that because I'm
So you kind of like
stick down here on the
climb
ground.
up, and I think you just kind of do a classic Jedi circle sweep to like cut your way in. Adonis is pretty much sitting there with a giant hole in his chest from the sword.
That's fine. One hand on him, just grab him by the scruff of his clothes and then out of the cockpit. Like
Dad
over my shoulder.
Dad just watches his corpse fly out of the back.
Thump, 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 thump. You reach in and the nodes come out, because I assume you move those off of honor system onto...
Yeah.
And you hard jack into the mech. Can you roll me, please, a skill check and add 2, a hacking check?
Snake eyes.
Snake eyes. This system is complex, shorted out. It seems to have been keyed to Adonis. You think you can get through to it. It'll just take a couple turns.
Okay.
Next up, we have Grayson. He didn't like the fireball, nor did he like getting shot much. He is going to look down at his son, who's just been thrown out of the mech, and he says, "I wonder." And he reaches out a hand and he raises it.
Counter spell.
Thank you,
You see
very much, Alan.
Adonis begin to lurch forward.
And I just go, Jesus, fuck.
And then I think you just reach out and twist your hand, and it's like his neck snaps and the animated puppet falls to the ground.
Holy shit.
Jesus. God, I really miss my spells.
And he looks down upon all of you and says, "You will deny me him even in death. So be it." Which brings us to the top of the round. Alan, you're feeling magic course back through you. It's pretty great. And then all of a sudden, your subdermal link kicks in and it's just yours. But you hear Atrix come in and say, "Hi, not Tiffany? Alan, hey, some big news. 2 big things. 1, we found the stacks. We found Grayson Typhus's shame. It's underwater. He's buried it underwater. The stack, it's out to sea. Here's the exact location. It's not far from where you are. Also, they keep talking about something. It's called a phylactery. Apparently, it's hidden somewhere in there. We don't know what it is. I've never heard that term, but it's heavily guarded. But listen, also, we're getting a lot of comms traffic. I think Amazon's trying something. You might want to get out of there as soon as you can. Also, we have word that there might be a portal in the stacks. So we're coming with you. Let us know when you go. I need to go. They're raiding us now. And you just hear like gunshots and he clicks out. Your turn. Go.
Damn
Do that
it.
what you will. Your turn is now.
I just yell subdermally, "We don't have time. We have to bug out. We found the stacks."
Why are we bugging out? We put him down and we're gone.
I just got a warning from Matrix.
About what?
Amazon's coming. Something bad.
Ah, fuck, okay.
Declan, you're up.
Can I see Drizzt? Are his people pulling him out? He's the only body in this fight that I give a shit about.
He's sticking around. Here's the thing. The Driders are almost fanatical. Like, they're fighting constantly. But now that more and more regulators are kind of pouring out of the sky, they're being overwhelmed. Drizzt is still fighting on. He's basically with you guys. And again, his objective during this fight is keeping all the other assholes off you guys. So the reason that you can have kind of clear fights with the bosses is that he's clearing it. That said, he took a magic missile to the leg. He's clearly been wounded a bunch. He's still going, but it's no longer as balletic. Now it's a little more pit fighty.
Okay, so that's fine, because I just want to make sure he wasn't like down, because I'm like, I gotta carry him.
Still up, yep.
I'll calm him and just be like, Drizzt, we gotta fucking move. Amazon's incoming. And then I'll also hit honor system, and I'm like, system, we gotta fucking go. Amazon's incoming. It's time to run and gun on the way out. So I'm gonna book it towards the exit from the showroom through like the main entrance. Then I always take my shot and run, so I'm stable and then sprinting. So I'll take a shot at him with another incendiary round. That is a crit fail.
So you line up the shot and you're starting to target. You manage to lock eyes with him through your scope. And what do you say as you lock eyes with him?
Nice eye, dick.
And you go to pull the trigger, and as he's staring in close eye to you down the scope, he just mutters, "Canera," and snaps his finger, and you die. So you collapse to the ground, all your senses go black, the gun clicks, and you drop. Alan, you feel a horrible burst of magic, and you watch your friend drop. Honor system for you, it looks like he just passed out. This is very strange. But you see Declan go down.
Declan, get up.
Oh.
Declan does not get up.
Declan. And I like wrestle myself up out of the mech. I'm looking around and I see him down. I don't see any blood.
No, he's gray, but there's no blood.
Alan, I'm going to Declan, and I run over to him.
Alan, you stare on as Honor System runs towards his dead friend, and you know what's happened. You've seen this before. You know what the power of death magic is and how liches operate. And with all of your heart, you just fucking wish that Butthole was here. And as you start to kind of stagger towards them and watch Honor System kind of robotically drop to his dead friend and not quite understand what's happened and start shaking him and doing the usual, like, you're unconscious things. As you begin to stumble towards them, looking down, your eye catches the slightly cracked eyeglass in front of you. And through it, you see someone staring out at you, and it's Quinny Brownbarrow. And he says,
Alan?
Quinny!
Alan!
Quinny!
Well, where are you? How are you in there?
I'm in another world.
and you realize, Alan, that the glass on this is slightly liquid. You can put a finger through, it ripples as you move it. And as you stare at it and you stare at Declan, you realize you might have one chance.
Is Butthole there?
Yeah.
Get him here, get him, bring him. And I grab the glass and I run. I just leap to Declan.
I'm going to say you Misty Step because of the dramatic nature of this.
Yeah.
Drizzt is seeing all this happen, and it's that kind of classic Jet Li at the end of Hero thing, where he just kind of sees that something important's happening, so he just levels both guns on Grayson and just starts walking towards him, just like rapid firing into him. So you rush over, and looking through it, you can see Butthole. Butthole, what do you say to Alan?
Hey, what's going on? You seem really bothered.
Butthole, I need you to save this man.
Okay. I mean, how long ago did he die, though?
3 seconds.
Oh, that's totally fine. I have a whole minute.
So Butthole, you reach a finger through, and Alan, as you hold it over Declan's head, Butthole's finger reaches down, touches him, and
a butthole appears on the end of the finger, and it just starts farting, and it farts over and over again. And despite the fact that there's a whole battle going on in a terrifying universe, it's still embarrassing and gross. And it circles through, and it just starts farting directly into his mouth. You regret putting it over his mouth, but you did. And his chest starts moving up and down, and then he comes back to life with a gasp.
And as Declan sits up, a bunch of things happen all at once. Declan, suddenly your eyes spring open. The air smells rank. Alan is sitting over you, and you kind of look over, and you can see Drizzt unloading pistols on Grayson Typhus, who just looks down at him and says, "Be gone." And a ray shoots out of his hand and disintegrates Drizzt.
Damn it, I liked that fucking guy.
You've got your rifle in your hands. What do you do?
I fucking shoot Grayson Typhus.
Roll me an execute check.
16 to hit.
That'll hit.
Great. He immediately takes 19 damage and has to pass a physical save if that is less health that he has, because it'll still kill him if he fails.
Well, here's the thing. He's been drained by another magic user, and he's an unexperienced lich. So as you sit up, you finish pulling the trigger, the bullet flies out, and blows his head open. And the headless body of Grayson Typhus falls from the sky and just kind of hits with like, it bounces off the mech and hits the ground. As it does so, honor system, Declan has just sat back up from being dead. You read no vital signs. This is something far beyond your experience.
What happened to you just now?
I fucking got him.
Before that.
No, but I fucking got him. That was the whole thing.
I look over my shoulder and I'm like, that's 2 for you now.
Yeah, I fucking did it.
You died.
Shit, we gotta leave.
You died.
Fucking Amazon.
And honor system, through the eyeglass, you hear, brother, what are you doing out there? And you can see another samurai droid covered in moss staring through at you with a look of wonder on its mask.
Visor.
Yep. And that's when the screens turn on and you hear zzz, and a swarm of bees held inside a glass helmet says, greetings, citizens of the conglomerata. You may have noticed a conspicuous absence here today from me and from my friends at House Fairnin. That is because we have decided that the conglomerata no longer serves our purposes. You rely on us for all things, from food to clothes to purchases, and we no longer need your governments. We knew that none of you would ever agree to this, and that is why I, Jeff Bezos, finally achieved my great dream. Behold, my great dream in the sky. Look upon it and weep. And suddenly there's a blink of light in the sky, and a massive beam tears down from the heavens, rips across the large promenade, separates the arena from Nairfrost, and then hits the city. There's a flash of light, and it's gone. The grav repulsors on MechFest begin to falter. You begin to plunge towards the sea. There's alarm bells. People are screaming, running. And honor system, finally, the system data you got from the mech tells you that there's one large enough that maybe, just maybe, all of you could pile into. The ED-210. It's a prototype, but it might be large enough. And if you hurry, you and your friends can get aboard, and you might just survive this.
I say, everyone come with me now.
Okay, fuck, I'm not going to argue.
As you begin to run, you pass the body of Grayson Typhus, and to your horror, you can see the veins begin to grow out of his neck and his head begin to reassemble. You rush past him. Honor system leads you down back towards the loading dock that he entered through, and sure enough, half completed in the basement is a mech. Alan, you're receiving updates from Atrix, who has sent you a ping as to where the stack is. It's not far. In the mech, you can probably make it. And so the three of you and Bourbon Sherbert, who's still kicking ass and taking names, pile into the ship. And right as MechFest hits the sea, you plunge forward, rocket down to destroy the stack and save your friends. Alan, I'm going to give you one last thing to say to your compatriots on the other side, because now, for the first time, you can talk to them. What do you say?
I'm so happy you're alive.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099 features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra. The system we're playing is called Stars Without Number, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are Core Collapse and Sanctuary of the Sky Gods by Nathaniel Yaverne, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, Jahzzar, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Now I'm off to do future things before we return for the next episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099.
Epilogue. This is the greatest day of Cormium Plantier's life. First of all, I want to thank you. Cormium Plantier's velvet voice says, my siblings have failed rather spectacularly at acquiring it, but I suppose that's why it's always worth hiring a professional. The orcish woman standing before him smiles. I am the world's greatest thief. That's not how I heard it. Gravelia Plantier, a woman in heavy-plated stone armor, mutters, and the orcish woman snarls, revealing sharp, pointed teeth. Now, Cormium says, putting his arm around the orcish woman, this ring is all the proof we need. The fated meeting is in an ancient chamber, large, circular, and carved from stone through arcane means. 5 dioceses encircle a statue, one that would be a familiar sight in Airfrost. The Plantier siblings have gathered, for the first time in ages, for this holy ceremony. A holy ceremony made possible by the orcish woman standing before them. "I'm used to people underestimating me," she says, and holds out the ring. "After all, how else could I have stolen this from right under the Wanderers' noses? On their own damn airship." Cormium merely smiles his enchanting smile and extends his hand to the orcish woman, who drops the blue-tinged ring into it. It glows with a bluish light and causes a soft breeze to tussle Cormium's otherwise impeccable hair. At a dais at the back, Augustine Plantier looks on, hungrily tapping his artificial hand against the stone platform. "That will be all," Cormium says. "Your payment is awaiting you on the roof." The orcish woman nods, then leaves. "Always a pleasure doing business with the Plantiers." Cormium smiles. "And with you, Miss Streep." Merle Streep leaves the chamber and meets her companion, a large cloaked figure flanked by gargoyles on the roof. Between them is a large metal casket. She walks over to the large steel coffin and peers through the small glass porthole. Bryn Riker swears obscenities at her, but Merle can't hear it. The box is well soundproofed, as advertised. "Hello, Bryn," Merle smiles, revealing sharp teeth. "So good to see you again." Bryn slams a hand hard against the box lid, then recoils in pain. "Afraid it's too strong for a mortal to punch through, my old friend," Merle says. "Not a problem I have these days, but it'll be quite impossible for you. Besides, it'll make the journey home much easier. I have such plans for you." Bryn continues to swear, but Merle doesn't notice. "So does my husband, for that matter." Merle knocks on the coffin, slightly denting the lid, still not used to her new strength. "Oh, we are going to have such fun together at the castle." She gestures to the cloaked figure, who bows, and gestures to the gargoyles to hoist the coffin. "It's a long flight, I'm afraid," Merle says. "I hope you brought something to read." It had all been leading to this. Ever since Bryn had stolen what was rightfully hers out from under her. Much as she'd enjoyed hearing how her Oni companion had screwed with Bryn's crew and her former lover Butthole, it meant nothing if she couldn't be revenged upon Bryn herself. And now she would be. As they took flight, Merle dangled her feet off the side of the casket and smiled down through the porthole at Bryn, revealing her razor-sharp teeth. "You're just going to love it in Barovia, Bryn, and I just can't wait for you to meet my new love. He's the one who gave me my new powers, amongst other things," she winks. "Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Strahd. Count Strahd von Zarovich, to be precise." Her fangs grew larger in anticipation. "And we're going to enjoy you to the very last drop." The cursed company flew off into the night. Meanwhile, back in their circular chamber, surrounding the statue, the Plantiers reach for their focused talismans. Augustine, his pair of rings of the wind god, reunited at last after his failed attempt on the island. Igneous, holding the amulet of unending flame purchased from an auction at the Thiefies. Gravelia donning the helm of the immovable earth. Aquila holding up the conch of the drowned king. And finally Cormium holding up a heart recently pledged in true love. "It has taken us too long," Aquila begins. "Now we right the wrongs of our accursed ancestors who sought to snuff out the gods when they should have allied with them to rule. Where their dynasty failed, ours shall flourish. With this act, we turn the tide of war and take our place as the rightful rulers of this realm and all others." Cormium nods. "Together, my brothers and sisters, our powers combine. Earth, fire, air, water, heart." Energy flows forward into the statue and a cheerful voice proclaims, "Your powers combined. I am Captain Plantier!" And from the statue bursts forth a heroically built man with blue skin, red shoulder guards, and a blue-green flat-topped haircut. His winning smile practically lights up the room as he hovers above his supplicants. "Captain," Aquila cries, "your children have need of you once again. Lead us to—" The captain turns to her, his face becoming a mask of confusion. "Oh, pardon me, so sorry. But last I recall, you little dinguses rent me and my fellow gods from our realm and scattered us to the winds." His smile remains but grows firm, which is a major no-no for Plantiers. Aquila's eyes go wide. But we summoned you." The captain nods enthusiastically. "Yup, you sure did. But that doesn't mean you get to tell me what to do. After all," he points to his eyes, "I'm the captain now." Then he snaps, and screaming Aquila Plantier turns inside out, her guts spilling forth from every orifice until she can scream no more. The room falls silent, As usual, Cormium is the first to speak. We are yours to command, oh Captain, my Captain. The captain's smile returns. Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Thanks, sport. He looks around quizzically. Okay, well then, first order of business. Where's my wife? Your wife, Captain? Augustine, never the brightest, asks. Yes, silly, the captain says, laughing as his laser vision shears off Augustine's other arm. My wife. Where's Moonhammer? As Augustine continues to scream, and what's left of Aquila gurgles her last, Cormium Plantier begins to realize this is the worst day of his life.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. Christian Menicola, Long Long, Jason Denson, James Cuellar, DM Rob, Christopher Little, Joshua White, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.